How y'all doing? Welcome to Drink with James. I'm wearing a seersucker suit, so I'm feeling mighty southern today. Honestly, whenever I wear this suit, which is like 3 times a year, I feel like I'm in a costume. I should be like selling you fried chicken, or did Colonel Sanders, did he wear seersucker? Feels like he did. It feels like I should either be like hawking fried chicken or be like, like a southern dad. I need like an orange bow tie to go along with this, and it would be pretty much like spot on for most of the fathers of my friends growing up in Georgia. Look, welcome to Drink with James. It is episode 59. We're about to turn 60, which is fucking bonkers. I was just listening to this song before we came in here, called Shankill Butchers by Decemberists. And I remember the story about it, which is that the Shankill Butchers were these, I think they were Catholics in Ireland at some point in the last 100 years. And they really didn't like Protestants, which happened throughout history. And so these guys would just get like completely blackout drunk and go kill Protestants. And they were called the Shankill Butchers. So Irish mothers would tell their children, like, you have to go to sleep or the Shankill Butchers are gonna come get you, which is a pretty like fucked up thing to say because these guys would like skin Protestants alive. Anyway, that got me thinking about my mom. I think she used to say like the boogeyman was gonna get us if we like didn't go to sleep or something. And so I'm wondering what like terrible mythical beast your parents came up with to try and get you to do things. And if you're a parent currently, do you try and scare your children with something to get them to do your bidding? I'm interested to know. Put it in the comments. I'm doing some hashtag sponsored work this week. Jaguar invited me to, there's Formula E, which is like F1 cars, except they're electric. So there's a race in Brooklyn, which should be incredible. So I'm going with Jaguar. I haven't done any like actual, I haven't signed a contract for like an Instagram thing in a long time. So it was interesting going through that process. I feel like they're getting a pretty good bang for the buck because they're really just inviting me to Formula E and I have to do 3 Instagrams and an Insta story. So I really didn't do a very good job negotiating. I probably could have asked for more, but as you may or may not know, I have a Jaguar. I have an employee discount on. So I'm trying to get another Jaguar because my lease is coming up. So I will basically do anything for Jaguar to make sure I stay in their good graces. So if they wanted to literally like rename my account James Nord Loves Jaguar on Instagram, like I would probably do that. So 3 Instagrams is actually kind of a bargain. Is it bad form to go back and delete all your shitty posts from when you started Instagram and you had no idea what you were doing? I would say, I don't know that it is bad form. I think it's unnecessary. We had a For You about growth, and one of the things I wanted to stress was that like everyone came from somewhere, first of all, and second of all, it used to be a lot easier to grow on Instagram than it is now. Like the quality level that you had to have to gain followers was a lot lower 5 years ago than it is today. So we went back to a few popular accounts. The only ones I remember were Atlantic Pacific and Gal Meets Glam, but Tim will throw a few of them up here while I'm talking. And they just went back and pulled old posts, not their first post necessarily, but old posts from when they just kind of started out and they were, getting a decent amount of likes, but not, thousands and thousands and thousands. And it was shocking, really, how much different, Peace Love Shay was one of them, that was another one. It was shocking how much different they looked, like just physical appearance, how much different they looked, how much different their style was, and certainly how much different the photography was. I think that honestly adds to the story. I think that like a lot of times there is a critique of influencers saying that like they don't feel real and it feels like you live these lives that are like completely a fantasy and it's super curated, and that is true. You are curating your lives, you're showing like the best part of your day, and I think it's not bad to have that past that shows like, hey, this has been a progression of years of work for me to get to a place where I'm doing this. I think that comes off more organic and authentic. And look, I mean, if you went back on my Instagram and looked at the first post, it is horrifically embarrassing. Mostly because it's a shirtless selfie. So if you are really bored and you want to go down and you feel bad about some of your early posts, just cruise on down to James Nord on Instagram and look at the first one and you'll feel a lot better. And I run a company. I shouldn't have this shit up there, but for me it feels like, you know what? For some reason, the like 26-year-old James Nord felt that that was a post that the world needed to see. And so who am I as the 33-year-old James Nord to disagree with that? I say keep it up. Fuck it. For years, you've written about a variety of topics: lifestyle, beauty, fashion, interiors, parenting, whatever it might be. But now you want to focus on something. How do you get the word across? A few different ways. You know, you could change the name of your handle. You're not going to lose any of your followers. But if you were really targeting in, that would be one way to do it. I think if you're doing something drastic, like completely, you know, changing the focus of an Instagram or a blog or something like that, I do think it deserves some sort of announcement. Why are you doing this? What are you going to be focusing on? What's the rollout going to be? I think, you know, changing your icon, like you know your what's that thing called? Avatar? Is that it?
Yeah.
The little
I mean,
your little
I think
icon. Changing your icon, your profile image, whatever it is, like, and you know, maybe changing the name of your Instagram, but like communicate that to your followers. You know, I remember Eva Chen says all the time that like you can train your followers to get used to and enjoy new content, but there is a training process. So if you're switching your focus or if you're zeroing in on one niche to focus on, don't expect, you know, all the engagement to be there right away. You do need to train your people. So there's kind of, I think there's two ways you can go about it. You can slowly start to stop posting about other things and post more about, in this case, interior design. Or you can say, hey everyone, like making an announcement, I really want to focus on this. The focus of this blog or this Instagram is going to change quite a bit now, and I'm just going to be focusing on interiors and like hope you follow along, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, your followers, it's hard to know why they followed you. It could have been, you know, they followed you for fashion and now you want to focus on interiors, but hopefully you have hooked them on your just like personal view and your brand and the way that you talk about things and the lens that you see the world through enough where they stick around even if you are focusing. But you're not going to be able to trick them. So being honest and retraining them should be able to get you there. You know, if you're covering a variety of topics and it's not working and your Instagram isn't growing, then like, yeah, I think you should think about what's working, what's not working, and focus on the things that are working and try and get a niche. So, you know, I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, yeah, we talk all the time about trying to be different and zeroing in and focusing on something. And I think, again, if you're the kind of person that's doing a lot of different things and it's not really working and you're not growing quickly, then, you know, a change like this could be good. And you can always expand later. You know, if you can, let's say you're sitting at 2,000 followers, you've been doing this for 3 years, you're talking about a variety of things. Well, maybe if you focus on interiors or home or parenting or whatever it might be, you grow to 30,000 followers over the next 2 years, that you can start to maybe reincorporate those things once you gain a little bit of following. But you got to find, again, what we call in the startup world a product market fit. Product market fit means that like it's kind of growing without you having to do much. That like people are just reacting to it and enjoying it and they're coming to you. And so you want to keep testing and trying different content until you find that product market fit. I mean, I don't think it's the only measure of success, but it's certainly one. You know, it's hard to, again, if I was to look at it as a business, it would be hard to say that you had a super successful business if it wasn't growing, unless you were in a niche that was so small that the niche wasn't growing, in which case, are you wasting your time talking about that? Probably. But again, the measure of success for your Instagram or blog does not have to be followers. You know, you could just really enjoy doing it, and if that's the case, then fucking more power to you. Like, you're probably a lot saner than the rest of us, and that's totally fine. You don't have to grow your Instagram. Your Instagram would just be something that you enjoy, and that's totally fine. But if you are trying to gain followers and it's not happening, you need to try new things. So how do brands view YouTube? First of all, as we said before, YouTube is by far the most expensive place to buy sponsored posts for a brand. It's the most valuable real estate on the social web currently. So, you know, we say all the time you should be experimenting with video. It could be YouTube, it could be Facebook, it could be Insta Stories, it could be Snapchat, whatever it is, you should be experimenting with video and getting better at it because we believe it's the future. It seems like that is where everything is going. So brands love YouTube. I would say beauty brands especially, obviously. I mean, you're watching this, you probably know that beauty brands love YouTube. It's a little harder fashion-wise. Like fashion videos are a little bit more difficult. You know, you have style hauls and things like that, but straight fashion videos are a little bit more difficult and they've been a little slower on the uptake than like a beauty tutorial. But, you know, this question specifically was asked by someone who said, you know, what about if I'm 40, 50 years old? Again, that's a great niche. If you're creating, you know, you think about beauty tutorials, right? Like beauty tutorials came about in large part because traditional fashion magazines ignored minorities. So they would say like, hey, this is how you do a cat eye, and it would always be like a white girl. But like the way you do a cat eye for a white girl is probably different than a South Korean, is different than someone who's Japanese or African American. So those groups were ignored so that there was no content that made sense for them. And so these beauty bloggers came out and said, hey, like we're gonna interpret these trends for an audience that looks like us and has the same kind of struggles and, you know, things to accentuate and all of that. So I don't mean, what do I know about makeup? But this is like, that is where it came from. And so, you know, similarly, that is such a hard word to say, similarly. What else do you struggle with? I can't say that word. You know what I'm saying. I also can't spell definitely or entrepreneur. Impossible. So I digress. 40 and 50-year-olds are probably looking for beauty tips as much as everyone else. The beauty tips that are on the internet are not pointed at 40 or 50-year-olds and the unique set of problems and things that they need to address. And so if you're creating content for that, I'm assuming there's a market for it. And I'm assuming, you know, starting a YouTube channel and creating videos around the things that you might struggle with or that you've come up with good solutions for is probably a great way to build a following, and is definitely something that you could get on early because I think there is less of that happening in that older market. I think that, you know, I've seen more and more like advanced age style blogs, but I haven't seen as much on the kind of YouTube tutorial space. So I say go for it, and I think that as with anything, if you can build an audience, brands will start to become interested, and it's always good to be first. So, that's it for episode 59. I know I say every week we got some fire guests coming up, but we do. It's just that they're so fire that they're also so busy that it's hard to not lock them down. So we do have some good guests coming up. We are going to take care of you guys, don't worry. I'm going to Hawaii in a couple weeks. That's just something I think you should know because I'm excited. But we're going for a client trip. So, you know, if you're not following me on Instagram, as always, you should swing on by. We're going to Kauai. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's, you know, that fucking Jurassic Park island. So I'll probably just be playing that soundtrack constantly, and we rented a Jeep. So I think we're gonna go raptor hunting. But as always, ask your questions. I'll try and answer them. Cheers.